So I'm just laughing looking at it again. So Kevin Sorbo tweeted. So as we know, like Parler is getting not shut down, but like Amazon is taking away. They'll be back in like 2 days. But Kevin Sorbo tweeted, "Time for a move. Freedom of speech is gone. Welcome to the USSA. Please follow me on Clout Hub."
Clout Hub.
This is a real site. This is where they're going, to something called Clout Hub. And I think he may have. I can't even tell if he designed it or not, or is an owner in it. But yeah, Clout Hub. So yeah, hoot and holler at clouthub.com.
This is Hoot and Holler, a podcast about the Ozarks.
Speaking of people we went to high school with, does anybody know anybody that actually went to the protests on Wednesday in the Capitol?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't keep track of anybody I went to high school
Okay,
with.
yeah,
though,
I mean, I do
like.
Alaska
if any of them hear this.
I did a verse on "We Love the Cops."
I mean, I can think of 25 to 30 of my classmates who there was at least a strong probability that they ended up in the tract where they were at least entertaining the idea of going if they didn't actually go.
Yeah, because I mean, I graduated with 25 people. I didn't see anybody that I knew that personally went, but I do wonder. Because I'm from Harrison, so I do I know there just had to be some folks that were like, man, we got to go storm the Capitol.
I mean,
honestly,
kids at my school were on some shit we're ahead of the conservative game by 15 years. Everybody's so surprised about the rhetoric of the Republican Party or whatever, or is acting surprised about it over the last 4 years. But I remember there was a bunch of kids went around and they made their own buttons in 2004. They weren't even buttons. They were just pieces of paper that they safety pinned to their backpacks. And they all said, there was 50, 60 kids wearing these. They said, voting for Kerry, Satan is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the Ozarks. Fucking a third of my classmates out of my class of 400 or whatever were fucking soldiers in Christ's army, you know?
I mean, I think I've said this before, maybe, but in college, I had one of those dumb college dorm room debates, and a student said, if Satan had a vote, he would vote for Al Gore. But completely sincere.
Oh my God.
Yeah. My high school, or my freshman year, first semester, my roommate was Air Force ROTC, I think. But he claimed to have been deployed already and shot. He was fucking 19, and he was in an ROTC program. I don't know, but he was. I mean, that dude's a fucking Nazi now, 100%. If he wasn't a Nazi then, I don't know. But he watched. This was when Colbert first came on the air, Colbert Report, and I would always watch The Daily Show, being a little hippie lib or whatever, and but he was so stoked that the Colbert Report was on there now, so that there was some balance. If that gives you any idea. But he left. He left in the middle of the semester, so I got the room all to myself. But then he came back at some point, and was bragging to everybody that he was quote unquote selling guns to people in the quote unquote hood. So, I mean, this guy was just like an inveterate liar,
Right.
but also probably a fucking Nazi. His name was Rhine, like named after the Rhine River.
Oh, that's the reddest of flags.
Yeah, this guy's grandpa was an injured vet from World War II. He fell out of the guard tower kind of situation. So.
Liar kids are the funniest people on the planet. Like kids that will lie about anything for no particular reason. It's always funny.
There was a kid that I know that joined the army. He told us one time that he jumped out of a tree with a knife and killed a deer. And he was like 17 when he told us this.
Oh, I know. I went to school with dudes whose dads like swore up and down that when they went hog hunting, they would sit in a stand or sit on a limb and drop onto a hog with a knife.
I realize we're coming at this with the wrong tone. We should all be very solemn and be using gravitas in our voice, like all of the late night comics have this month or this week, and have been doing. Sir, how dare you allow this?
I know
I am
like Colbert and Fallon and Seth Meyers.
How dare
turning into Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
Yes, the perfect comparison. They all became
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
I mean, this tone is the thin veneer that is quickly cracking for me. Like,
yeah, it's
under the surface. I am ready to just like.
No, we can.
I don't know.
We can seethe, but
yeah.
Yeah. It's almost to the point where I don't know that I've fully like what the actions of the last week. I'm gonna sound like a lib on Twitter here. I don't know that it's fully set in what we just like casually. It felt like we were just watching happen. You know. Like, I was at work when it was happening, watching it go down on Fox News, getting commentary from a team with a collective IQ of 75. And...
generous.
Yeah, it really is. And I was just sitting there and watching it happen, and I had somebody, like, sitting with me training. And I was just like, I can't believe I'm just sitting here just watching this, just going about my day casually, like, oh, this is fine. I felt, and it's very much like a overdone comparison, but I felt like that dog in that cartoon is like, this is fine, and everything's on fire around us.
Right.
And I will see videos or see news articles or just kind of see what else, and my brain kind of just short circuits. And just it's like, I can't process this right now. And I just go do something else because it's so, and like Pat said, like, it's so fucking terrifying. And I know I think it was right before the elections when we first started doing this podcast, Pat, we had all been talking, and I think he had tweeted about it as well, of how concerned he was about right-wing, violence in this, and was kind of showing us and like giving us updates on things that were happening. And I mean, I believed him, Pat, I obviously believed you that it was going to happen, but even still to this day, like, I had no idea how right you were truly going to be about it. And so you called it, dude.
I mean, it is no like victory at all.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks. I feel so,
Take your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me feel absolutely insane to be so freaked out about it for so long, and then it made me feel less insane. In fact, takes me to the very brink, like some of it having more or less been right, but I can't like take credit here. I mean, there are much smarter people than I that have been reading tea leaves and screaming about this for much longer than I have, but I mean, it just seemed self-evident, and I don't know. I called into work Wednesday morning. I didn't go in. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do shit. Mm-hmm. But even then, I was still experienced shock along with everybody else Wednesday afternoon. Like, I absolutely shocked. Not at all surprised, but it was fucking shocking.
Yeah, I will say we are moving from being a doomer podcast to being a prepper podcast.
Yeah.
Hey man, I got off Instagram because I was just screaming into the wind on there all summer long about everybody like fucking store 5 gallons of water and 3 weeks of food right now. Just do it. Make sure you got enough beans and rice and a way to make it, and at least 5 gallons of water like per person. Just do it right now, man. There's no telling. I mean, this could crumble. We are in the crumble. We are like well along into the crumble, and it's really hard to tell right now if that's a 5-week time span or if it's a 50-year time span. You know what I mean? Well,
yeah.
So I don't know. I just prepare for the absolute worst at this point because, and I what's coming behind everything and much more rapidly than any of us are willing to reckon with is climate going from heightened and more frequent and more numerous crises around the globe to just being like one ongoing global catastrophe.
And I think if anything, that this like coronavirus, the coronavirus pandemic that has been plaguing us for a calendar year. I saw somebody talking about this, and it's a really good point. How they're treating us now is kind compared to what they being the government is going to do to us when climate crisis truly starts to take a hold. So yeah, I agree. We
absolutely.
And I say as in mostly me. Like we have to be prepared for it because no one's coming to save us. At all.
They have demonstrated this year they do not give a fuck.
No.
And
if you want a taste of what's coming, I would look at the immigration regime of the last 20 years in this country and how utterly cruel and wanton and inhuman that it's the actions that it produces. Because we're going to be seeing mass movements of people. You talk about some sort of immigration crisis in 2018 with that whole ginned up caravan bullshit and everything like that. You're going to see that on the news constantly. It's going to be, the stream of refugees moving from place to place due to climate and due to conflict caused in large part by changes in climate it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
There are billions of people are going to live, thousands of miles or at least hundreds and hundreds of miles away from where they were born, in the next 20, 30 years. Which just exacerbates everything. And the more the empire really starts to crumble and come apart, as we are witnessing right now. One of the things that's my theme of the week, I guess, in my own head is fucking cognitive dissonance. The thing I have a lot of cognitive dissonance around is having this absolute gut feeling that the United States we're at the end of the quote unquote American century, or long past the end of the American century, if you will. We're shifting from a hegemonic power to maybe a second or third rate power at this rate. But we still have this global defense system that is unlike the world has ever seen. We have troops spaced out all over the globe. So something I'm having trouble squaring is the thing falling apart, but also still having all of this technical might and what happens there. I don't know. People have proven over and over again that you can do a lot more damage to the American army with 5 guys with AK-47s than you can with an entire military, regiment.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's crack open 777. What year?
1776.
Yeah, that's what I said. Cold ones more and pour them out for the U.S. because I think it's over.
Yeah, the chairs are on the table. It's getting bad.
P. Diddy is singing.
it's it's been a week where we're really having to grapple with a lot of that. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have been at least kind of semi-aware of the idea of, oh shit, our nation is like quite literally crumbling, like you said. It just in front of our eyes, and we're just live tweeting it. We are just going through it online. And man, not with a roar, but with a
yeah, with a crumble. I think crumble works like perfect because look at our leaders are all like literally disintegrating in front of our fucking eyes. You know what I mean? From Mitch McConnell to Joe Biden to Nancy Pelosi, they're all like to Chuck Grassley and Dianne Feinstein. They're all just like, I don't know, like fucking mummies.
Thank goodness we
Grassley
elected,
may literally be crumbling. I haven't seen him like
yeah. Our institutions are crumbling. Their institutional power. Just the way that they were fucking literally undermined in many ways, like by this Trump administration. Like the last 4 years have just been spent like gutting out the infrastructure of the executive branch, which is going to be pretty fucking wild going forward. I imagine we just don't fix it.
From everything that's happening now with the people who have been supporting Trump this entire time, what we're seeing, like, they're all going to like deny it, and the Democrats are going to try to put together the system again, the system that already was kind of a centrist Republican system. And
it's a return to normal. We're going back to brunch.
And
we're quietly putting children in cages. You know? Fuck.
This country has long survived on a heavily entrenched center, which coincidentally just like keeps sliding ever rightward. But in times of crisis, you know, it just like I don't know, that core just like tends to solidify itself. I don't know, like having somebody like Joe Biden, who is a absolute institutionalist, he's carceral. He's a carceral cancer. He's maybe more responsible for mass incarceration than any other single human alive in America today. I mean, the way that he's going to react, he's going to respond to this, is to let his my colleagues off of the he's going to let them off the hook while cracking down hard first on these dudes and then later on any kind of dissent, especially left-wing dissent,
and
giving more money and tools to the same fucking people that let this happen, who could have absolutely prevented this, but didn't, because its inherent ideological views are like aligned with the movement at least enough to, you know, hesitate to treat it as an enemy.
And I have absolutely no interest in defending anyone that was in the Capitol, the guy in the wolf cowl, but those people are less responsible for this than people like Marco Rubio and Roy Blunt and everyone who told them, and Trump, and, you know, like all like the villain list. But those people are more responsible for this than even my man Baked Alaska.
Well, I don't know. Baked Alaska is Tim Gwinnett or whatever is a fucking. He's a propagandist. He's pretty damn culpable in this shit. I mean, he had a.
He's too.
But so is like Jack and Twitter and Facebook for letting this shit thrive on there for years. I mean, they finally kicked his ass off, but not until he had been on there for 3 or 4 years. And there's far worse fucking people who still are on there, just like constantly propagandizing and disinforming.
Charlie Kirk is still posting a ton of thoughtful.
He's still on there.
Yeah.
He paid for fucking people.
Buses.
According to his own Twitter feed, 80 buses full of people to go to the protest.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Like we were talking about liar kids earlier. Charlie Kirk, liar kid. He didn't
Absolutely.
fucking do shit, and his ass wasn't there.
He looks like one of those cartoon, like
Absolutely.
a cartoon drawing of a kid, like a Saturday morning cartoon. Those outlandish fucking features.
He really does look like a Dick Tracy villain.
Fucking
that
kinda does.
Named like Kid Face or something.
I wonder if there's like a strategy meeting right now between Republicans who are having to admit what they already knew is that Trump lost the election, Joe Biden's going to be inaugurated. I wonder if there's like a strategy session of them being like, it's Joe Biden, we can move him right.
I mean, they don't have to. They don't have
We
to
just
have
got-
that
we just
meeting
gotta
because
move
they
him
know
right.
it, because they worked with him for
You know,
They're friends
40
with him.
fucking years in the Senate. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a man
Yeah.
who eulogized Strom Thurmond, who
Yeah.
wrote crime bills in the 80s and 90s with Strom Thurmond, like the last seated fucking segregationist. Like maybe the most racist man to serve in the Senate post-Civil War, and that is a high fucking bar. Like, if you can
Yeah, it really is.
pack that shit away and still be friends with someone, then you're a fundamentally bad fucking person. I'm sorry. Sorry, libs. You picked
Absolutely.
a fucking stinker. You guys picked a fucking guy with all the economic instincts of Herbert Hoover and the political instincts of Neville Chamberlain.
I also love the, immediately after the protest was broken up and they got everyone out of the Capitol, everybody online pivoted to like, oh, it was Antifa, it was Black Lives Matter,
That's
whatever.
big.
And it's like, imagine thinking that anybody on like the far left would fucking go try to burn down the Capitol for Joe goddamn Biden. Like, what the fuck? I barely left my house to go vote for Joe Biden. I would not storm the Capitol, and I would walk up those stairs for Joe Biden. Like, no.
It's
No,
it's working, unfortunately.
They are very good at doing propaganda. And their propaganda now is going to be saying this is Antifa. And you're already seeing it coming out with people. Like, I see it a ton from people on, like, Facebook and stuff, like, regular people who believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's becoming the mainstream Republican position that there were both patriots there that day, but that everybody that did anything wrong was a fucking Antifa sleeper cell, a fucking George
I promise
Soros suicide bomber or some shit.
I promise you that, Big O, whatever, Barnett from Gravette, Arkansas, which is right up the interstate from me. I promise you, I've gone to all the Fayetteville Antifa meetings. I promise you, this man who didn't steal anything from Nancy Pelosi because, and I quote, left her a quarter on her desk. He's actually in jail not too far from my house right now, so
I want to know what was
Big
in that
O,
letter.
come on the pod. I know, that's the only reason I want him to come on here so we can find out what's in the letter.
Yeah, it was a letter from Nancy Pelosi to Billy Long that a man from Gravette, Arkansas stole. It's a perfect hoot and holler caper. We got to find out.
I know. I was.
Can we do a spin-off?
His current
When I
charges.
saw that-
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's like Hoot and Holler.
Just follows this asshole.
It's just called The Letter. Yeah, he's being held in Washington County Regional Detention Facility for the FBI.
His current charges only amount to up to 1 year in prison. As a reminder, like J20 journalists that were covering the demonstrations at Trump's inauguration faced up to 80 years because they just happened to be present with a camera whenever somebody broke a fucking window. But hey,
I mean, it adds up.
and I'm not saying at all that I want this man to face more charges. I just want you to realize the disparity in how these laws are applied, and that calling for more terrorism laws and protest laws and shit like that only hurts the left or the media, and it doesn't hurt doesn't hurt the people
Right.
that you want it to. So,
And, terror laws, and once again, this is not a hot take or a fresh opinion. Those are almost always going to hurt marginalized communities more than they're going to hurt white people storming the Capitol because Daddy Trump lost the election. Like, it's fucked. It's so bad.
A lot of these people can afford to hire attorneys who can represent them to make plea deals, and a lot of poor people and people in marginalized communities can't, and they'll make a plea deal with a public defender, but they won't get the same kind of representation. And I mean, we obviously all know this, but it's the problem why we shouldn't be supporting more draconian laws that Joe Biden is very happy to enact.
right. Well, he's suggested them. He was,
and it's being cheered along by liberals.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, he at one point claimed and celebrated the fact that he wrote the core of the Patriot Act. Again, this guy is deeply punitive.
Who in the year of our Lord 2020 is still proud of the Patriot Act?
That's what he's suggesting.
It wasn't even a good
here,
Netflix
right?
show.
I mean, most of the most absurd things about the Patriot Act have disappeared, but the worst parts of them have mostly stayed around, especially like DHS, ICE, Customs and Border Patrol. I don't know. What he's suggesting though is just bringing is a bunch of new draconian laws that are going to make everybody's life worse, and also not stop the threat, because the threat has completely infiltrated law enforcement,
Right. The Washington
absolutely.
Post had a story today about how police departments are researching to find out if their officers were at the rally.
Yeah, unfortunately they're going to focus just on the rally and not on whether or not they went. They're probably going to sweep anything under the rug, like they talked about it and couldn't get the day off or anything like that. Because I bet there's a lot more that supported it.
It's going to be like when I worked at Taco Bell in 1999, and all of the punk kids worked there, and we all put in to get the day off to go to Warped Tour, and the boss could only give us so many of us the day off. That's what the cops had. They all put in.
Man, I listen. I would have been, storming the Capitol, but I had to write people tickets for not having brake lights. Someone's got to protect the community. And then I went home and beat my wife. Spousal abuse to stop the steal. That's how they're trying to stop.
That's going to be. That's a huge component of this, right? You've got a bunch of angry, mostly petty bouge white dudes who are just incredibly angry and incredibly impotent, and they just take that rage and they put it somewhere, and it's against their families, it's against the women in their lives, their children.
Yeah.
The domestic violence is directly and deeply linked to white supremacy, which is also directly linked to what happened last week. I don't think that's a hot take. That was a white mob.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's most.
I'm trying to think if I saw a single person of color in the crowd. Maybe one or two, but it was white rage against the idea that their country was being stolen from them. Even Diamond and Silk were not there. So,
any movement, there's going to be members from across the spectrum, but it's where you look at the intersections that are important, right? And whiteness, middle to upper middle class, business owners, small business owners, etc., and doctors, lawyers, dentists, stuff like that. And and like nationalist beliefs, because there's obviously like plenty of non-white nationalists. There's plenty of non-white business owners. I don't know. It's important to look at where things intersect, and where they tend to intersect is along like traditional authoritarian mob kind of mentality or group dynamics, which is like class character, I guess. Rather, it was the artisans and the shop owners, and now it's the fucking MLMers and lawyers.
I want to find out how many of the people there have an "It Works" sticker on the side of their SUV.
I bet a lot of them had Salt Life stickers, despite not living anywhere near the ocean.
Yeah,
that's like a fascist dog whistle. I don't understand it at all. But every fucking fash down here in Taney County, where could not be further away from a fucking body of salt water, have Salt Life stickers on the back of their. Which is it like fishing? Is it just like a beach? What is Salt Life, and why is it this right wing?
I think it's.
What they're doing is stealing valor from beach bums.
I think it's just like. I think it's just like a vacation state of mind. But Pat, I've literally never thought about it, but I have never met somebody who isn't like an annoying conservative online. Like I have a family friend of ours. Well, she's not my friend, but friends of my parents, who has a Salt Life sticker on her car, and she not only sells an MLM, but she's also just like been reposting like the dumbest Trump shit in the world, and she's also going to Parlor. So I think you're onto something there, bud.
It's like a signifier that they've like reached the ultimate lie to themselves, like the ultimate state of delusion. Like, yeah, I'm living the Salt Life here in the White River Hills.
I mean, Salt Life for my timeshare condo 3 weekends a year in Destin, Florida.
Exactly.
Salt Life,
that's it.
bitches.
These folks have been to Destin or Panama City Beach like every other year.
It's not even that. It's that.
It's like, or is it that they go to Orlando and they say Salt Life?
My parents live in Orlando, and they might have a Salt Life sticker. That's literally true.
Well, and it lines up. It further lines up. Yeah. It furthers the theory.
I think one of the strangest hot takes that I have seen since Wednesday was from none other than Senator Bitch from Arkansas, the long neck draft motherfucker, Tom Cotton, who tweeted, "DC statehood was a terrible, unconstitutional idea before the mob violence. It's still a terrible, unconstitutional idea today."
Huh.
It doesn't even make any fucking sense.
I think he's trying to blame the city of DC for what happened, even though it was federal property. Everybody involved is like a federalized agency, from Capitol Police to like any of the 19 fucking law enforcement agencies in the city other than Metro PD. I don't know, man. That's goofy as fuck. These people are so craven and opportunist. It's disgusting. It's so fucking gross. I don't understand how you live with yourself.
You don't have a soul. You do not have a soul.
I don't understand.
Yeah, and especially with Tom Cotton, like you can just look into those dead Republican eyes, and he has no emotions, no feelings. Like he tweets this shit out, and he's like, "I am satisfied. I know no true happiness or no true sadness." He just goes and he puts bumper stickers over his nipples, and he just moves on with his life. It's unreal.
Every day. That's the only time he's happy. It's like in Good Will Hunting when Ben Affleck says, "The one time of day I'm happy is showing up at your house and just hoping." I can't do a Boston accent, but hoping you're not going to be there. That's Tom Cotton. The one time of day he's happy is when he eats that sheet cake.
God. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys, do you think that anybody up top's going to pay any consequences for this? Like,
absolutely not. Absolutely
they're
not.
hedging on it. They're hedging on impeachment now. Clyburn said today or yesterday or whenever that they're going to put it off until after Biden's first 100 days.
Okay, so I did have a question about that. And this might just be incredibly dumb, and if it is, everybody feel free to yell at me on Twitter. How do we impeach a president who's no longer in office?
That's not a dumb question at all. I have no fucking clue, Taylor.
Okay. I was like, I can...
No, it's the same way that the Mormons can baptize Anne Frank. And,
Josh, that was a fucking slam dunk, buddy. I am so proud of you.
We're slowly and quietly becoming an anti-Mormon podcast, and I want to apologize to any Mormon comrades. But any ex-Mos want to jump in the Discord, holler at me somewhere on the internet, and I'll send you an invite for free, because there is a small ex-Mormon community of fans, I guess, and one host.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, no, I'm not making fun of Mormon. Especially the feminist Mormon housewife blog that I learned about. But yeah, I think that's if they impeach him after he can't run again, would be the only advantage to it.
I don't know if it would be impeachment. I mean, I think it can be they can do the impeachment trial after the fact. It seems incredibly stupid, except for to bar him from office.
Which he's not going to do anyway.
I can't imagine the amount of Friday memes that are going to be like, how'd you get fired on your day off? That are going to happen if if he gets impeached after he leaves office.
I mean, it's much like his Twitter ban. I think it's hilarious and funny, but I don't know that there's any real point to it.
No, it's wildly too late and wildly under. It's not enough,
Right? Yeah, it's just
both. I mean, I don't know. He got banned from Twitter. I don't know. I mean, it is good at this moment that he has gone from Twitter, and also it is very fucking funny to imagine the scenes that at least I come up with in my head that are him like Hitler in the bunker and Downfall about getting access to the different Twitter accounts.
I can't imagine what it would be like to go through something so obviously completely your fault and so embarrassing, and people are talking so much shit about you, and you are not able to tweet through it. Like, I get disappointed in Target because they don't have my size in a pair of pants, and there's like a 15 thread tweet that I tweet about it. I can't imagine. I can't imagine having to go through because he was, you know what? One of my favorite things is seeing the reaction from the left, even from, to the libs of being like, they finally banned Commander Cheeto, Good Day for America, I love Kamala Harris, and I love cops, USA, to the people on the left who are like, yeah, I mean, it's good that he's gone, but also, my man was a prolific poster. Like, we lost a lot of, good early 2010s pop culture just insanity, especially the shit about Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart and Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke, excuse me. So I said, I completely agree. He does not need to be on the platform. He is quite literally inciting violence and racism. I am sad that we are losing what I believe might be, it's almost like the fire at that library in Alexandria. Like, we're losing some historic shit here.
He was the best one out there. You try every day to do what he did, but But no, he's the Ted Williams of Twitter, and
there are some bangers for sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's in retrospect, it's like how much of this could have been avoided if they just kicked him off for inciting violence in like 2015 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They are craven. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, they're cowards. And
yeah, I mean, how much money did Jack make in the last 4 years Jack Dorsey make in the last 4 years because he had kept Trump on the platform,
Yeah, absolutely.
But have you also been looking at news sites just trying to figure out what is Trump saying right now? Like, I've spent the last 4 years saying, I just want him out of my head. I don't want to see what he's saying every day. And now I must know.
It does feel like we're going through a little bit of a toxic breakup, in that, like, obviously we need to get rid of him. He was terrible for us. All of those regular platitudes. But also, I'm like, I can't believe he's not posting about me.
Just missing my old buddy a little bit right now.
Yeah,
and,
I do wonder. They posted his public schedule, because they posted every day, I think, his public schedule for the day. And the day after he got kicked off Twitter, it was like, the president is going to work from home today from early in the morning to late in the evening. He will take several phone calls. And that was it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, Trump,
sitting up in my room.
Yeah.
I mean, is he like, I don't know. Is he gonna leave, you think? I mean, surely he's gonna leave. What I really want, with everything being so bad anyways and going to be bad and get worse, all I want is like a fucking Noriega standoff with Trump in the White House and them outside like blasting Whitesnake or some shit.
I kind of want it to be like when old Jim Guy Tucker down here in Arkansas, because he was convicted in the Whitewater affair, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to resign. And then Huckabee, who was his lieutenant governor, he'll become governor. And then, like, the day that they were going to swear Huckabee in, old Jim Guy Tucker was like, guys, yeah, no, I'm not leaving. They like kind of threatened to call the National Guard on him. I kind of wanted to be
I missed all that.
Huh?
I said I missed all that. I don't remember Whitewater at all. That was always like some nebulous thing that I couldn't understand. I was too young to like understand about. I remember it on CNN all the time. Like I remember like hearing about Whitewater this, Whitewater that.
It's just like a real estate scam.
Yeah.
Right?
A bunch of people in Arkansas, and that's the thing is, I have like a general idea of what it was, but yeah, to the point of it, it was a real estate scam, and a bunch of like higher up people in Arkansas were indicted. I believe the Clintons were involved. It was a whole deal.
Yep.
She had those papers in the White House. Here's what I will say. Here's my actual fantasy is that he does not leave. They call him the ATF, and it's only him in there. But it is Waco again.
They're going to send in gallons of milk to him.
It's going to be like days and days, and they're going to have to blast music, and at some point, they just burn down the White House to get him out.
What do you think? What music do you think that they would blast to get Trump out of the White House?
Not Macho Man. Well, maybe, because he would come out dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just throw in YMCA and this man will just like come fucking swinging his hips out the front door.
What's the Elton
Ray
John
Stevens.
song that he plays? Oh,
He plays Tiny Dancer, right?
Tiny Dancer, yeah.
Yeah, this motherfucker loves Tiny Dancer.
Look, here's how America heals. Joe Biden, listen to me. At the inauguration,
we know you're listening in.
He is a hooter. You invite Trump with you, and you create the almost famous scene on the bus, and we all sing Tiny Dancer together as a nation, and we heal. Baked Alaska also gets to sing with you.
It's going to be more like the Almost Famous plane scene. Isn't that Almost Famous?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be more like that, except that the plane won't won't correct course.
Yeah. Someone tries to barrel roll it and it just slams into something.
You know, so like we're talking about not hearing from Trump. The fact that he's like radio silent means that he's being like locked out, right? Because he could just like call into Fox and Friends anytime that he wanted to for the last like 6 years. And also, if nothing like going forward, we somehow like if we avoid calamity on the 20th or thereabouts, and you know, like after being utterly fucking embarrassed last week, LEO like cracks down hard on any plots going on over the next like 10 days, then all that really does is prove that the deep state is real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if the collective government, basically people who don't have actual like elected power, because Pelosi can't say you can't touch the nukes, but she was on the phone like making sure that he, you know, that there was some sort of safeguard in line that he couldn't touch the nukes. But you're not going to impeach. You're just going to let law enforcement like ruthlessly squash any more attempts at his like ongoing autogolpe like self-coup thing. Then you're just proving that the deep state exists. That it's just like mostly like silent bureaucracy that is like grinding to a halt around this guy to tie him to a chair. And I don't think that has great implications going forward for some of the right-wing movements going on, or great implications for us, maybe as far as like recruiting tools and indoctrination. It's a boon for them, you know.
Absolutely.
So I think of it two ways. One, that places like Fox, although he could call OAN or Newsmax, and I would assume that they would be more than happy to talk to him, they're trying to read the room for a minute, and they're trying to protect their brand. So they just want to see how this shakes out for another week. Much like a lot of certain senators have been pretty silent, not naming names.
Quiet.
No, Josh, I think you should name names.
A motherfucker who has not tweeted since crying about his book deal getting canceled.
Which was after he incited a fucking riot at the Capitol.
It was like the same night, wasn't it? Or was it the next night?
It was the next day, I think.
Okay,
He was catching heat, so he turned it into the culture war thing. And the culture war reframing is working. I mean,
yes,
there's nothing if this right-wing media ecosphere is like not good at. The thing that it is absolutely good at is at creating these feedback loops that just like totally upend reality. You know, I mean, we're all fed propaganda on a daily basis, and who fucking knows what we've read that was like confirmed facts or whatever. It was just like fed bullshit that, you know, that's going to be used to justify something down the line. For one, I am always highly skeptical of any case that includes explosives that the FBI is involved in. And so whenever the FBI starts investigating unexploded pipe bombs at the Capitol and RNC, I wonder, you know, there's just a lot of precedent to at least slow down and ask some fucking questions whenever it comes to accepting something like that. But regardless, I don't even know what my point was. I got off on a conspiracy tangent.
Well, I just wanted on the record that I would never be smart enough to even attempt to build a bomb. So if I ever blow up, please know that
it was Pushkin.
It was a frame up. It was a frame. the coward Pushkin could do it. He probably could.
I would just caution anyone that if somebody ever just as a general rule for life and not for any reason, But I would just caution anybody who's ever said anything like halfway radical online and whose own beliefs have become more radical in any way, even if it's like the most fucking, if you're just like canvassing for M4A. If anybody ever asks you if you want to buy bomb materials, you run the fuck away. You throw away all your clothes. You change your name. You get fake IDs, and you start living your life some way different. Don't ever accept help in finding or building a bomb.
Yes.
And maybe that's where these people went wrong, is that they took heed to that, and as a result, they didn't know how to build a fucking bomb, and it didn't go off. So I don't know. It could be that things were, and a lot of reporting seems to indicate that things were about to get extremely fucking bad last week. That just like a small series of coincidences saved things from some of the most horror. I don't know. Some of the stuff that we wouldn't. I don't know that we'd ever be able to reckon with ever. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember who tweeted it, but somebody said, I don't know that we have fully reckoned with the idea that we were, very, very, very close to seeing live streamed like assassinations, just like on Twitter.
I basically watched snuff films from some of the stuff that happened in the Capitol.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like the people that were breaking in, I do not like seeing someone be murdered on video.
Yeah.
By the Capitol Police.
No, I completely agree. It's been a fucked up week online, y'all.
Right.
Yeah, the video circulating today. Yesterday, the video of the now fat. Well, she's both an Antifa infiltrator and a fascist Valhalla member. Ashley Babbitt was that video was going around of her being shot by a police officer, and today a video is going around of what appears to be the cop who died being just like, if it wasn't the cop who died, this cop went to the hospital because he was beat within an inch of his life with like an American flag pole and people's fists. And it's like just savage, just savage shit. Some of these people were literally trying to do, I don't know, like so much of this was spectacle that it's easy to have a bad take about it, I think. I don't know. And I don't want to get into an argument about what the definition of what happened was. I suggest strongly that you stay away from the word terrorist, because that only gets wielded in the wrong way, as far as like policy application goes. And if you're a leftist, the idea of boohooing sedition, just using the word like that, is kind of weird, because I don't know. But anyways, the only thing, I don't think we should get bogged down in talking about the definition of what happened. It was I
think it was just traumatic.
It was bad. It was an attack. It was an attack incited by the outgoing leader on another branch of the government, and at least some of the members of that are members of law enforcement and the military, or former law enforcement and military. And at least some of those members went there to fucking kill somebody, and they did kill somebody. They killed a cop. And then 4 of them fucking died because one of them tased himself in the bowl.
Okay. Well, I will say that is actually funny.
That's fucking hilarious.
I'm sorry. The funniest thing to me is that it was while he was trying to steal a painting of former House leader or former Senate Majority Leader Tip O'Neill. I think he was the House leader.
Yeah.
He's trying to steal a fucking painting of Tip O'Neill.
Who the fuck
that is so fucking funny to me, dude.
I'm just imagining somebody. Let's say that tragic. He did not succumb to his injuries. I don't know that it was tragic, but let's say he didn't succumb to his injuries, and he got out and he got back to his home. What are you going to do? And what I imagine, and this is not in a classist way, because they showed pictures of him in his home. It was a very modest home and nothing to be ashamed of. But what are you going to do with a congressional portrait just chilling in your home? I don't know why, but that has just stuck with me. I'll just be oh yeah, and here's a souvenir from the from where I tried to overturn the government. Like, I don't know.
The
weird
coolest
one. I don't know.
the coolest souvenir obviously is a letter from Nancy Pelosi between Nancy Pelosi and Billy Long. That's the one.
What if it was just like Nancy Pelosi like sat on a like copy machine and like copied her ass and sent it to Billy Long?
Oh no!
then I would say,
oh god,
turn that into a GIF, and I will retweet that and say "Slay Queen" every time that she comes at a conservative.
The GIF is. Oh no!
I was trying to think about.
I can't handle the idea.
Because like if I were in,
it's like burned in my head now. Nancy Pelosi sitting on top of.
Because if I were in any sort of power, which obviously I would never be, that's immediately what I would do to anybody who I hated and disagreed with. I would just send them a photocopy of my ass, like, and just be like, read your last tweet, and just, I don't know.
I was trying to think about whose office I would go to and what I would try to find there. And I realized I would go to Ted Cruz's office and dig through his desk for... because I assume he has some old, like, porn mags there.
Oh, he absolutely does.
And I think that they would also...
Either that or he has,
have
like...
his name on them. Like... Because he
like a address line,
like to a PO
because he pays a subscription. Yeah,
he either has like a ton of porn or he has like a bunch of chick tracks.
Probably both.
Right. Yeah.
One drawer for each.
He reads the chick tracks after he completes after reading the porno, or I don't know if you read it, but
judging by the one glimpse into Ted Cruz's porn diet that we have, like, that is definitely a man that still indulges in physical media for sure. Like,
yes.
If he doesn't have mags, he's got DVDs and hell, maybe tapes. I don't know. This guy may be an old school pervert. I don't know.
Indulges
I do not like the phrase
in physical
Ted Cruz's porn diet.
I think that's the name of the
Hold up.
episode.
New Twitter. Okay. I was gonna go with the Two Americas.
But wait, we spell it with a KKK. Like, why the fuck didn't they even do that? Oh, because then they would have to admit that America is a failure.
Yeesh. Yeah, they called it worse than 9/11 or something. I don't know. Why are we talking about those assholes? Who cares?
I think calling this worse than 9/11 is a bit of a stretch when you have a global pandemic going on that's killing, how many thousands of people a day?
Over 4,000 now.
Yeah. Maybe just ease off of that comparison, like maybe just for a couple more months. But God, it really truly brought out the dorks and the people online.
I will just say, and we're talking about Pod Save America, the Obama boys, and I used to listen to them because I try to keep a steady diet of all the different things, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I can't handle them.
No.
Because they're just too bland, but they're very pleased with themselves all the time.
All the time.
And much like I am always pleased with myself as someone who's bland, but yeah. I think so.
I am not comforted by the fact that President-elect Joe Biden's first tweet essentially after this is like, this is not who we are. And I'm like, motherfucker, it clearly is. Like, what in the history of America, of literally the whole thing, would, and especially given the last, Trump started running for president in 2015, the last 5-6 years, what in any of this makes you think that this is not who we are? And I think we might have all talked about this. I mean, it's like fucking being gaslit of like, oh, this isn't who we are. Like, this is an anomaly. But like, nah, dog, it's not. Like, unfortunately, this is exactly who we are. And I don't like that we have elected this person who is coming into, and I know like this has been talked to death, and my therapist is even sick of hearing me talk about it, but like it bothers me that in a time where we need like immediate change on several different fronts, whether it's, you know, economic policies, it's healthcare policies, it's climate policies, you know, all of the big ones, like we need immediate and meaningful change, and we have somebody who's still like, oh, this isn't who we are, like this is fine. Like I was under no impression that anything is going to change or even get better under a Biden administration, but it's so frustrating to see this happen and for him to just be like, oh yeah, this is fine, like this is who we are.
I mean, if you watch any of his recent like spoken statements, it's even like more depressing, honestly.
No, because I had
and it's important to keep in mind that the Joe Biden don't fucking tweet. Like, this motherfucker doesn't know. He has a jitterbug. He carries around a fucking jitterbug in his pocket. He does not tweet. The guy who's writing those like fucking glib platitudes that are just absolutely fucking meaningless drivel and outright lies is somebody like the fucking Pod Save America boys. Like, they're the next Pod Save America boys. It's gonna so
it's a 23-year-old intern or someone with their first time job, because that is who runs Congress, basically. Are like, if you've ever seen like someone like whisper into Chuck Grassley's ear, it's always like a someone in their mid-20s, because he doesn't know shit at this point.
No.
Yeah, like it's just someone on his staff, and they're all like young people. So yeah, Joe Biden can't hit the letters on his phone. He can't unlock the screen.
His phone's just constantly resetting itself because he forgets his passcode.
I mean, I can't criticize him for that.
I mean, I imagine he's like one of those guys. He doesn't have his own phone. Like, why would he have any one? He's not even a boomer. He's a silent generation. Like, this man is old as fuck. He lived 3/4 of his life before the internet became a thing, and then like 7/8 of his life before the fucking internet went into our pockets. So like, this dude doesn't carry around a phone. He has and has had an entourage his entire life who just like hand him things. I mean, I don't.
It's just,
hey, can we take a like 5-minute break and then talk about, I feel like people are probably expecting us to talk about Josh Hawley more than just in passing, as we have.
We that's all I want to talk about.
And then just run this bad boy out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I hit stop?
We all back.
Oh god, if you guys have listened to me burp.
I've been in here burping for a minute.
Okay.
So
I heard some burps. I'm not naming names because I don't know where they came from.
Okay, so how do we want to address this? If we want
to, can I first say something really quick? That we have failed as a podcast at this point to not address how much Roy Blunt sucks shit.
It's true. Point. We've been putting it off.
You're right, yeah. But we will talk about it at some point. And he's the perfect encapsulation of conservatives who get away with it in a way that...
Oh, he gets away with it. He gets away with it. Yeah.
I feel like...
He's a nice, respectable guy that can say, this isn't who we are, over and over, while doing the things that make us who we actually are.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about him later. Because Josh just joshed out this week.
Yeah, do you think our boy flew too close to the sun? Do you think this is it for Josh Hawley? You do?
No, I do not. But he did fly too close to the sun. But
definitely flew too close to the sun.
But
I don't,
with his little fist up, little baby fist.
Such a loser.
I think his chances of capturing the Trump base are stronger now than they were 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes. The fact that he stood there to the end and even voted to not certify after that, whenever they reconvened late that night, he's trying his damnedest. I don't know.
Damn.
And I don't know that him getting kicked out of the Senate would put a stop to that or make
it might help him
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because nothing works like grievance, like grievance for these people. It is like a fucking drug.
Yeah, because it'd be like he was telling the truth too much. They kicked him out of DC. No, he's coming back to save Missouri. He's gonna be the fucking governor next.
Could not be more Orwellian, you know.
Can I speak the most cursed idea into existence right now?
Hit us.
I probably beat. If it's what I think it is, I beat you to it. But go ahead.
You can say it, and then.
No, you go. I want to see what it is.
Okay.
I have my own cursed prediction.
Okay. Well, my prediction is he is forced to resign, and because we all get mad that he gets enough, sir, how dare you? And Governor Parson replaces him with Eric Greitens.
Yeah, I beat you to it.
Oh,
Somebody brought up the 14th Amendment, Section 3, on the 6th, and was talking about expelling seditious members from Congress. And I was like, oh shit, this all ends in Senator Eric Greitens, doesn't it? So I'm glad our fucking curse is in the same... Our cursed brains are in the same spot on that one.
What if they do this? They give it to the wife of Eric Greitens, just to be we need more ladies in the Senate.
Like the clap emoji. More ladies in Senate, even if they're looking to take away rights.
Right.
That's I mean,
girl boss feminism.
If he does resign or is ousted, which it doesn't appear that we can recall him in any way, right. I don't think he's gonna resign either.
No, of course not.
He's all of the synonyms for coward, but he's not really a coward. Or at least he's fun to call all the synonyms of coward, from craven to gormless. I think those apply to this man, but I don't know about coward itself, because I think he probably will fucking hold the line. And the only way that you're going to get rid of him and Cruz, because Cruz is also a fucking psycho egotist, is to pry them out by using something like the 14th Amendment. I don't know. I mean, or I think they can just do a simple vote via Article 1. I don't really know. I'm no constitutional scholar, but there are ways, at least theoretical, that I've seen laid out this week of removing shitheels like this. So that's the only way you're going to get rid of him. But if he is, then what happens is Parson does have appointment.
Give us Billy.
He gets
Give
to
us
appoint
Billy.
Somebody. Oh my god, dude, that would suck so much shit.
No, let's
I can't
get
I don't know who would be
Seitz's
in
son.
line. Yeah,
Daniel.
I think Seitz has a little profile building to do. He's still getting his feet wet, but I don't know who it would be. Isn't it Jason Miller or whatever? Fucking another one of the dudes that voted against certification and also a complete asshole. Isn't it Jason Miller? That's a Missouri rep. I don't know the rest of our Missouri reps.
Jason Miller is a guy, but I thought he was a Trump comms guy, but I might be wrong. There's 8 Jason Millers, I think, so that doesn't help. These are the most common first and last name. The image I have now, and if Billy actually wanted to get more power, is when the break-in was going down in the House chamber, he should have walked out on the floor and started auctioning off things. His auctioneer books who wants Nancy's podium, blah, 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 and doing that shit.
He would have done it if they hadn't taken the podium.
Right.
Was it? She's an 8, she's a 9, she's a 10, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get his story straight of what he did. He claims that early, like on Wednesday, he said that he went in and voted early and then left the Capitol. But then whenever he was being interviewed by Ethan Foreheads at KY3 and yeah, dude, that was such a okay, I got a cop to so Billy got on Twitter and complained about rookie reporter Ethan for something. And it's really hard to tell when like Billy's trying to be funny because he's like
not
fucking, I don't know. He's like, yeah, he's not. He's like Huckabee.
I mean,
Huckabee at least like structures things like a joke. But Billy is just like.
Billy has been funny is when he was embarrassing Laura Loomer. The only time.
That's literally the only time, right?
And where the
and
fuck
then it was just like instinct.
She should still be chained to the. She should still be handcuffed to the door of the Capitol.
Oh God.
But anyway, but then I went and watched the video like this morning or yesterday morning, whatever, and it was a total fucking whitewash job. Like it didn't ask him any questions about really what happened or how like his vote against certification related to that, and they just let him talk about COVID and how Nancy Pelosi had a super spreader event and all this shit. And then he said that he walked into the safe room, which again, he said he left the Capitol earlier in the day, but in the interview he said he walked into the safe room and saw that people weren't wearing masks, which in video it was all like Marjorie Taylor Greene and a bunch of the Republican caucus refusing masks.
Did you see the one where the one Democrat group was trying to offer them masks and they were just
that's what
just like being complete assholes about it and being like, no, we're good.
So he's completely escaped he will escape any kind of culpability because nobody in the media around here will put his feet to the fire at all. Like the best thing we got was a week or two ago, Steve Pokin, investigative reporter, columnist guy, who for the news leader, who kind of put his feet to the fire with the fact that fucking Billy never answers any questions from the press and he only does shit like right-wing radio or the occasion Color 10 or KY3 interview where he knows he's just going to get softballed to death. So I don't know, but so Billy did that tweet and I bit it off as not irony. I took it as sincere and tried to dunk on him for it. And Ethan did a little clap back too, but it turns out that they're fucking bosom buddies and Ethan Foreheads just let him fucking launder himself again. And I just have to reiterate, if you live in the Springfield TV market, you should not be watching any of these nightly news, but especially not KY3 because that fucking station is consistently garbage. I mean, watch that show and find out what's not cop stenography because almost every single thing that they do on the morning and nightly news is just fucking cop stenography and the weather, and that's it. They just read off police press reports. There's no journalism or news to be had there. And unfortunately, we only have like one paper and it's decent from time to time, but, I don't know, man. The news environment around here is fucking garbage. Everybody has to get their news on Facebook, which is a big part of the problem.
I will say the KY3 comment section, consistently good. Everyone down there, the top fans, they all have good takes. They're all very smart, and they all don't just
at least one of them, right?
God,
they all don't just say hang him anytime that someone like gets a ticket for jaywalking.
yeah,
or run them over, or
right, they want blood.
Yeah.
It's the same in the 4029 comments down here in Northwest Arkansas. I have a friend who he's so dedicated to combating local news commenters, and I'm so proud of him, but I don't know how he does it without wanting to jump off a building because it's so bad. Anytime I see in any of their stories, like, I like their page, just kind of keep keep up with whatever's going on. And they'll post something about coronavirus, and in 15 minutes got 250 comments from, Regina, who is convinced the government's trying to track her. It's like, well, girl, you're commenting on local news Facebook posts, so like they know where you're at. Like they've got a good idea. So, it's because I think it's because a lot of the local news stations have been bought up by like Clear Channel Media or whatever. So it's all garbage now.
And the news leader here is like I would say the best source of like local news because they have good reporters and they're not. I mean, they're owned by what.
It's a USA Today, so they don't do a whole lot of speaking truth to power, but they do at least like cover the news.
They actually investigate shit and like
and I will say, when a DEA agent shot somebody in Springfield and killed them the night before Election Day or 2 nights before Election Day, like the news leader went with the headline with the active voice that a DEA agent shot and killed a person that was unrelated to their investigation or whatever. So I definitely give them props for that shit. They're much better about doing the investigative work instead of just like reading off or reprinting a police press release or just anything.
Being stenographers, and that's also true in my opinion about print journalism over broadcast journalism, because as a journalism major, I was in class with someone who said, how do I just get on the news without having to do any of this work? How do I be on TV?
And now they have a afternoon correspondent correspondent role on an OAN network.
Yes, I guarantee it.
So yeah, let's we got to talk more about Hawley. I just don't know where to fucking start with this dude. Like, he is such a piece of shit. Like, in the days leading up to this, there was a pretty small candlelight vigil that did a little bit of noise after dark at Josh Hawley's primary residence in Virginia, because he does not live in Missouri, as Roy Blunt almost certainly does not as well, often using addresses that are not a physical house that anybody lives in for their voter registration and campaign finance registration, etc.
Actually,
both of them.
I need to find their porno mags in their offices and find what addresses they are being sent to, because
where you get your porno mail, that's what we call home. That should be the standard.
Home is where you come.
The standard I've been using is like, where do your young kids go to school? And as far as I can tell, Roy Blunt's son and Hawley's kids, if they're of age, at least do childcare in DC. That their kids. If your kids go to school in DC or the Virginia suburbs, then you live in DC in the Virginia suburbs. But I think the porno test might be even more accurate.
The porno test.
But I mean, going back so there was this noise-making protest in front of his house, and he talked about Antifa scum threatening his wife and newborn child who couldn't travel because he was here in Missouri, which is just like. And there was video of the entire protest, which was only about 51 minutes long. And yeah, they had a bullhorn and made some noise, and they went up and knocked on the door, and they left a page of they left the copy of the Constitution on his front doorstep. But then he turns this very tame, probably entirely liberal enterprise into radical left psychopaths, burning and pillaging his hometown or whatever. In the days leading up to, over the last month or so, he's really become the face of the congressional challenge to the election results. And he's been screaming left and right about election security and how we need to make sure that our ballots are safe and all this shit, which is the real project, by the way. They just want to pass more election laws is the main thing that all these Republicans were along with, is if you seed enough doubt in the election results, then they'll let you get away with fucking anything you want to on writing insane poll taxes and shit like that. So he's simultaneously talking about how the election is or how there are strong questions about the election, and he's screaming about like Antifa scum, and was warning about Antifa being in the Capitol on the 6th, and like along with Trump saying that Antifa is coming to the Capitol, blah blah blah. We need to be ready with our forces or whatever. I think Trump said like back on the 1st or something like that. Unfortunately, I can't pull his feed to confirm that exact tweet now. But so they even did the work to like set this up as Antifa before it happened, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing the work all year, and libs have helped too because liberals ascribed any amount of violence over the summer either to false flags or to outside agitators or to opportunists or anarchists, and no window that was broken or cop car burned was at all in any way an organic reaction to the amount of anger and frustration and rage that people have been feeling. So I mean, the groundwork was laid there by both sides to allow this insane fucking thing that it was the left that did the putsch, you know, that it was a false flag thing. And so I think Hawley's culpable in that too. But since this thing, like the day of, he tweeted and went on TV talking about why he was doing his patriotic duty to deny the certification of this. And I don't know, did he speak at the rally like that Trump held? Do you know?
No.
Anybody? He didn't?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't believe he did. I think it was like Trump, Mo Brooks, and our guy
said
Rudy.
Mel Brooks.
just
Rudy,
keeps fucking winning this month, and just keeps just doing great, Rudy.
Rudy, keep doing what you're doing,
Rudy
bud.
was also pushing the idea that this is. He said, "What was it, like? Look at these like tough climbers. This could not be Trump supporters or something like that."
What a mean burn to your own,
your own people. Well, but Hawley at least was near the crowd, right? Because there's this iconic photo now circulating of Hawley, you know, raising the power and solidarity fist in the
with
air,
no fucking mask on.
Walking into the
not,
Senate building.
Masks are for the pussy cucks. No, that a poster that's going to go on a million college dorm room, like the John Belushi college photo. Just a poster of that, but for racist white guys,
young college Republicans.
Yeah, like when you go home with them, or you go back to his dorm room, you see that, just leave.
Yeah.
So
if you get to, I just want to make this statement. If any woman here, especially a young woman in college, gets to an apartment at any point and they see a picture of Josh Hawley and it's not defaced because they hate him, you can DM me on Twitter. I will send you money for an Uber home. Don't. I got you.
Run out before you go to the lengths to DM Taylor. Get yourself out of harm's way.
Get yourself out of
please.
harm's way. You come to Aunt Taylor. I got you. Don't worry.
This is the Hoot and Holler guarantee. It's that you find yourself in any pro-Hawley dorm room, we got you.
Yeah.
So there's now this Resign Hawley movement going on. There was today a protest in St. Louis. We looked like a few thousand people, not a huge mob, but a couple thousand people. And they painted Resign Hawley in big letters on the street because apparently that's what we do now. That's kind of a new invention in the last couple years. A little innovation. So Resign Hawley painted on the street. I don't know. I don't think he's going to resign. I don't think that the Democrats in Congress at all have the stomach to deal with these fucking people. And Joe Biden's answer yesterday, after comparing Cruz and Hawley to Nazis, he compared both of these men to Nazis, and then when asked what he thinks should be done about them, said, "You're going to have to vote them out harder." What, Jack? You know, like... What? What?
Look,
Hawley's not up for fucking re-election in 4 years, and he clearly has ambitions on running for president in 4 years, and you're just gonna let this fucking dude that you called a fucking Nazi sit there and fester?
I will draw the line as hard as I can, Joe, but I don't know that's gonna help more than if we can just get him out. I'll just keep
fucking stupid, man.
I'll draw right through the ballot, and then I'll put it into the machine, and it won't work anymore.
I mean, if they do let him stay and Trump reruns, and so Hawley defers for another 4 years, so he has to run for his Senate seat, man, I'm beginning to be more and more convinced that Claire McCaskill is looking for a fucking rematch title fight here. And if I'm not dead before then, I will be dead in 2024, having a fucking aneurysm during that campaign, having to listen to fucking Josh Hawley and Claire McCaskill round 2.
Claire McCaskill is our Amy McGrath, right? Like, just the person who's going to lose by 12%.
Yeah.
But she now has a national profile for a few years now. But
right. But it's all in shitting on working people and becoming like an avatar of the liberals by being a constant MSNBC person. So, right. I mean, she gains no new demographics, and the people who don't like her to begin with will hate her now. You know, she built her career on being one of those like centrist, center-right Democrats who would win over Republicans, but those don't fucking hardly exist anymore, and the Democratic Party is becoming increasingly like just a dumping zone for those people. Like Colin Powell says he's not a Republican anymore, so I'm pretty sure he'll probably get a job in the Biden administration, though him being a Republican wouldn't have precluded it anyway.
So to say.
I thought so. I saw that and thought, didn't this guy quit like 12 years ago?
I feel like I've heard that, since like 2008. I feel like I've heard that like 5 or 6 times. Yeah. I don't know why we're laundering these people, though. We're going to end up with, we're going to
be the fucking Lincoln Project of the White House. Like, they're barely not Republicans. Like, this isn't something to celebrate. Like, reaching across the aisle and working with people who identify with the right. It's not a good thing. Like, I don't know why there has been like this to be patriotic. You have to be willing to work with people who actively hate you and are voting against your interests and would be happy if you weren't in America. So yeah, Colin Powell. Ugh, I can't. Here's to the best 4 years of our lives. Fucking Joe Biden. God, we're such a bunch of fucking idiots. I swear to God, all of us.
I'm so mad about it, bro.
Yeah,
I'm so fucking mad about it.
I kind of go through like the stages of grief, every couple of weeks with Joe Biden. I'm like, at a certain point, I was at acceptance, but I'm at anger again now. So,
no, every time he opens his mouth and says, "We need a strong, vibrant Republican Party," no, we don't.
We have moved on. We have moved past the need for Republicans long ago.
Right. We need a Democratic Party and a party further to the left of the Democratic Party. Those should be the two parties, okay, if we need to.
Yeah. Well.
So, here's my only things that I wrote down about Hawley and why he's not going away. I think, he will not willingly leave, because I think if he's learned anything, it is when the cancel man comes for you. If you say no,
God damn it, John.
If you
when the cancel man comes,
if you say no, it doesn't matter. unless there's criminal charges.
More importantly, you just scream about being canceled, and then you
get a comedy special,
and then you make your career of being you build your career off of having been canceled or whatever, like that
Laura Loomer,
Nick Sandman or whatever being at the RNC and shit.
Oh God,
you can do literal crimes
Kyle
and be
Rittenhouse
rewarded.
Kyle Rittenhouse is out here taking pictures at a bar,
drinking at bars. He's not even. He's like 17, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's drinking beer in the photo too. I mean,
so if there's one lesson that I think people learned from Al Franken resigning, which I think the Democrats were absolutely right to force him out.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
For what, just everything that came out about him is that I think if he could do it over again, he would not have left. And I think he regrets it because he realizes, like a lot of these other people, if you just ignore it, it goes away and people forget. And unless you're Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby and there are actual criminal charges,
right,
the cancel man can't get you. And
I mean, Donald Trump, the Hollywood Access tapes came out like 2-3 weeks before the fucking election. The man talked about sexual assault and fucking like some of the most despicable language
and
possible.
There was a night
and he survived it.
And Trump, I think, honestly thought about leaving, but he's Trump, and so he just said no. And then he was president. And all you have to do is ignore it. And Josh Hawley is smart enough to know, with his big Ivy League brain, that you just don't just ignore it. Just say haters gonna hate, and you'll be fine, and he will be fine.
Yeah, and they're going to let him do it, too, I think. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this guy faces consequences or finds a conscience and slinks back into some fucking private law firm for the rest of making a couple $100,000 a year, maybe millions of dollars a year. Just go the fuck away, Josh. But it's probably not going to happen. Whether or not he can, which is a big point of debate, right, is can this motherfucker possibly capture this base? But it doesn't really matter because someone is inevitably going to do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's him or not. He's someone to absolutely keep your eye on because he's an ideological fucking nightmare. The man wants a totally... I mean, it doesn't take much reading into his politics to take a guess at what this man wants, which is a deeply patriarchal and white supremacist fucking theocracy. This is it doesn't take much guesses reading about Josh's career to this point or about his ideas on women or any of this shit to get there. But so I don't want him to capture it, but if it's not him, it's going to be someone else. Somebody is going to find...
It's Dan Bongino 2024. We're headed for it. It's coming. And just accept it now and start dealing with it.
It's going to be... See, that's maybe the fucking thing that we're missing here in all this analysis that everybody's done about the 2024 shit, is that it could very well be another Trump. Someone who's just... Who would it'd be absolutely hilarious. We're laughing now at President Dan Bongino, but will we be laughing at the fucking RNC in 2024 whenever
I remember
wins the superdelegates?
When to bring this back to Almost Famous for the third time.
For some
so proud of
reason.
you.
Exactly. When Trump announced that he was running, I posted the GIF of when the Penny Lane character is running up to her friends and says, "It's all happening," because I thought this is going to be so fucking funny. Well, who's laughing now? It's not me. And I'm laughing now about Danny Bongino, but I will not be laughing when he is kicking me into that pit.
let's be real. There have been some very fucking funny things that have come out of all of this.
Of course, yeah. No, we've had a lot of laughs along
If
the
everything
way.
is so deep and dark and frightening, we might as well find the absurdity in it, right?
I mean, I think that is how we have to feel about the Biden presidency.
Yeah, buckle up. It's
Yeah.
going to be fucking absurd and terrible. Buckle up.
But we get a laugh with our buddies about it because it's going to be it's going to be so funny.
It really
But also terrifying. Terrifying.
Well, that's probably a good place to wrap. I think we're
I agree.
at time. All right, folks, that'll do it for us this week. As always, you can find us on social media by searching hootnhollerpod. If you want to get in touch, just drop a line to hootnhollerpod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, you can check us out at patreon.com/hootnhollerpod. Go check it out. Got a few things unlocked on there. What you're missing out on is last month's bonus episode, which will cost you just $1 a month. Was a 2-hour dissection of Ray Stevens' greatest hits 50th anniversary collection. Also, Joshua graced us with another of his audio diaries last week. That was very funny. And up right now, I've got a brutal little playlist for a soundtrack for the end of the world kind of deal. What else? I think that's it. All right, and music this week is Little Springfield Hardcore from Primitive Rage. Got Disappointed But Not Surprised off their 2019 release, Driven by Hatred. Thanks for coming through. We'll talk to you next week. Stay safe out there.
Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues.